First of all, do you drink?
No. Sorta. Ish.
Hey, this is Rob Dock coming to you from Spring Hill Suites, Remote Leadership Laboratory in California. And just imagine the places you'll go if you understand the effects of alcohol and leadership. Now we're looking at this from an idealized influence point of view, and we're using real-life situations from cadet leadership and permanent party, and we're getting subordinates' perceptions of alcohol and their leadership. So what do you say? Let's get it going.
There's a lot of alcohol being consumed, but I don't think it's a problem until it becomes a problem. So.
No, it's just a lifestyle choice. It's like I don't perceive people different for drinking coffee or tea. It's just a drink.
So why is this important to leadership? Well, because alcohol is used to unwind and be social and be relatable with your subordinates. But there's a fine line where drinking too much alcohol can be detrimental to people's perception about you. And we're going to show you the results of our study that we did on this coming up next.
We've been working hard here for analyzing the data we got in the project. So you want to know what exactly we did? Basically, we have two surveys, and the two surveys include three different situations. We send these two surveys to different groups of people, and the different groups of people allow us to analyze their different various perspective on leadership and the relation between leadership and alcohol consumption. And we sent the two surveys to around 100 people and got about 70 responses for each. So here's how I measure our project data. So in the two surveys, we have different situation between Squadcom and AOC, and this allows us to determine if we can apply the situations to one group, both group, just one another, or none of them. So we have three situations in each surveys. First one is the use of phrase "haps till taps," and this allows us to measure their perspective on this usage of this phrase. Second one is drinking after a rough day on a normal weekday on Monday maybe. So this allows us to see their perspective on healthy drinking. And the third one is measuring their perspective of heavy drinking on maybe their leader. They see their leader drunk and being loud and obnoxious after drinking in a restaurant or hallway. So we use 15 ratings on each of the situations, which is maybe quite a little too much, but you'll see the 15 ratings later on.
All right, first off, what's our research question? So we said, what is the effect of alcohol on leadership? So our hypothesis was that if an individual consumes more alcohol, their perception of a leader that also uses alcohol will be higher, making our independent variable alcohol consumption of the individual taking a survey, and our dependent variable their perception of the leader. So our original hypothesis stems from empathy and ethnocentrism. So what we predicted was if an individual perceived their leader as having similar traits to them, they would perceive them as higher. So why does this matter? Well, cadets are going to drink, and how their subordinates perceive them can heavily affect their ability to lead. Let's take a look at the data.
If I knew a leader drank a lot, but they were effective at their job, no, I would not look at them differently. Period. Dot.
If I knew they drink, I'd probably see them as more human. But if I knew they didn't drink, I wouldn't respect them any less. I'd just be like, oh, he's kind of weird, but if he makes the decisions, then let's go. I'm ready.
If you're really careful and you don't show your subordinates that you're drinking, or you never come back, like, it's those people who come back drunk all the time that are going to be more judged by their subordinates.
So first things first, between the different surveys, there was little difference. So we were able to apply the results from both data sets to both the group based on AOC and Squadron Commander. So this is data set 1 based on the question of perception of haps till taps. As we can see here, there's little to no correlation between alcohol consumption and perception of the leader. The next data set was data set 3, the question based on a leader coming drunk back to the squad. From here we can see that there's a general positive correlation between alcohol consumption and perception of the leader. As we can see, blue, red, and green almost always going up. The yellow was a outlier because we got very few people in that category. As you can also see here, we have our 15 variables. Our last data set was data set 2, based on the healthy drinking of the leader after a rough day. You can see here again there's a strong correlation between alcohol consumption and perception of the individual, but the most important thing to note here is that the data set is also much higher, which we'll talk about later. All right, so from the results, we didn't get exactly what we expected between the AOC and SquadCom, since there was little no difference there, as well as Situation 1 produced almost no correlation between alcohol consumption and perception. Situation 2 and Situation 3 did, however, offer a small correlation. However, from this small correlation, we were able to conclude something else. So this data set compares those under 21 versus those over 21 to see their perceptions of the leader. As you can see, there's almost no difference between the two graphs. Since the results from the age graph showed little difference, and we kept in mind that there was a small correlation between alcohol consumption and perception, we were able to conclude that the two groups, under 21 and over 21, probably consumed alcohol at a very similar rate. From this, we were able to further determine that the individuals under 21 probably lied about their alcohol consumption rate. We decided to interview several of them to test our theory, and each one of them only confirmed it. Each came up saying that they had lied about their alcohol consumption to try to save face. With this in mind, we can probably conclude that the previous correlation was even stronger than seen.
How effective do you think Cadet Wing surveys on alcohol use are?
I think they're irrelevant because no one tells the truth.
Do you tell the truth?
Oh, I don't take surveys.
There's like 3 people that drink according to those surveys in my grade, and more like 900 people drink in my grade out of 1,000.
You think people really are honest on their surveys?
Do you think people drink underage here?
Absolutely.
Do you think people drink underage at the academy?
Yes, definitely.
Do you think people drink in excess at the academy?
Yes, definitely.
So what's our final conclusion? First, we came to a conclusion that subordinates who also drink are more likely slightly tolerant of alcohol usage of their leader. However, we came into another conclusion in our data, which is perception of a leader is not heavily affected by alcohol usage, but by perceived usage. For example, in the first and third situation, they both produce lower perception, while in the second situation, healthy drinking is really much higher. So we can come into the conclusion that heavy alcohol usage is detrimental to a leader.
If they drink a lot or drink a little, as long as it doesn't affect their performance and they're doing their job right, I don't care.
As long as it's like not affecting their like loved ones, or like to the point where it's like you can see it visibly like every day, as in like they're coming to work late or like they're coming sloppy and it's just like bring down morale of everybody, then no, I don't really perceive them different. But when it starts crossing that line, then yeah, there's a problem.
So what do you learn from our project? The main takeaway from this research can be applied directly to cadets' life immediately. Leaders should avoid putting the perception of heavy drinking in front of their subordinates, and that means cadets should stop using the phrase "haps to taps," and the leaders should avoid getting obnoxiously drunk in front of their subordinates, or just not get drunk at all.
Now we got 2 rules that we learned from this study. Rule 1, have common sense. Rule 2, if you lack in the common sense department, listen to what I'm about to say based on the study that we just did. So alcohol can be used as a tool, but like everything in life, it needs to be used in moderation. Maybe sometimes not at all, especially around underage people and young people that don't drink alcohol a lot or not at all. So maybe in that case, let's just screw the alcohol. Let's have water instead. Now maybe if we're around older people, like we showed in the study, older people, of age people, alcohol can be seen as relatable, and there can be a sense of comfort around you drinking alcohol with them. So maybe, screw the water, right? Screw the water, they'll be good. There'll be good indications on your leadership if it's used in moderation, like we said. Now let's go over how not to use alcohol. There's a guy, great leader, know him right now. He went to a bar with some guys, maybe subordinates, maybe not. He got way too drunk, bumped into a guy, threw him out the window, crashing through the window, window breaks. Well, the police show up, obviously. He's a great leader now. But in that case, leadership went out the window, police came, implications can be terrible as an Air Force officer. But as we said, moderation is key. And idealized influence is a real thing. And as we just talked about, it can be used in many different ways, in many different situations, to your advantage and also to your disadvantage. So remember, rule 1, rule 2, common sense. Listen to what we said, listen to the results, listen to the study, and you can have great implications on your leadership.
Would you drink with your AOC at a bar?
No, that's bad juju for everybody.